The hypothalamus makes hormones that will be stored and secreted by the posterior pituitary. Regulate anterior pituitary. The pituitary gland is a small sac comprised of the posterior lobe and anterior lobe. The posterior lobe stores hormones that arrive ready-made from the hypothalamus, while the anterior lobe secretes its own hormones. The two main hormones that produced by the hypothalamus to be secreted by the posterior pituitary and called oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone or ADH, also called vasopressin. Oxytocin stimulates urine contraction during labor and also involve the release of milk during breastfeeding. Diuretic hormones or ADH stimulates the kidney and resorb water, inhibiting urine formation during the time of low blood pressure, thus help the body avoid dehydration. The anterior pituitary makes the secret 6 hormones that regulate other endocrine glands. These hormones are the growth hormones, promote the growth of the skeletal muscle and bones and directly cells at the metabolized fat. Prolactin, which stimulates milk production in the mammary glands of the breast. Follicle stimulation hormones and luteinizing hormones regulate the gonads. The FHS stimulates follicle development in ovarians and production of sperm and ova. The LH trigger ovulation of egg cell and females, testosterone production in males. Thyroid stimulation hormones are the tropic hormones which influence the growth of activity of the thyroid glands. Endocrinotropic hormones or ACTH which regulate the activity of the adrenal cortex to the secret glucocorticoids. Next, let's look at the thyroid glands that produces thyroid hormones, which is actually two hormones, thyroxine and thyroiditorin. This is a hormones that affect almost every cells in the body by increasing metabolism, regulating tissue growth, and maintain blood pressure. The thyroid also calcitonin, which lower blood calcium level. Next up, the parathyroid glands that secrete parathyroid hormones, which raise the blood calcium level. Calcium level are involved in the cell signaling, among many other things. Then there are adrenal glands, which each comprise of inner adrenal medulla and outer adrenal cortex. The cortex synthesizes wide veterinary and steroid hormones called corticosteroids. Mineralocorticoids like aldosterone regulates ion concentration like sodium and potassium. They also stimulate the kidney to regulate water and electrolytes balance. Glucocorticoids like cholesterol and cortisone influence metabolism by keeping the blood glucose level consistent. And then, they also maintain blood pressure by influencing vasoconstrictors. Glucocorticoids helps resist long-term stressor by increasing blood glucose level by have an anti-inflammatory properties, and glucocorticoids are the sex hormones like androgen typically converted into the testosterone and estrogen. The adrenal medulla, on the other hand, synthesize catechomolines like epinephrine and norepinephrine. This prepares the body to deal with the short-term stress during emergency situations by increasing the heart rate, blood pressure, and blood glucose level, which are the good for invading danger. Thymus produces thymosin, which matures some types of WC as important in developing the immune system. Then there are pineal gland, found in the spinal and the brain. These produce metabonin, which helps regulate circadian rhythm, which involves the body's sleep-wake cycle. The pancreas, which produces insulin, glucagon, which are antigenesis that maintain blood sugar homeostasis, insulin, and releasing when the blood glucose level are high. glucose level are high that reduce blood glucose level. Glucagon is released when blood glucose levels are low. It stimulates the liver to release the glucose to the blood, thus increasing blood glucose level. Finally, the gonads produce sex hormones. The ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, where the testes produce several estrogen. The most important is the testosterone. Estrogen stimulates the development and maintenance of secondary female sex characteristic and mature the female production organ. With progesterone, steroids also promote breast development and regulate menstruation cycle. Progesterone promotes growth of uterine lining, preparing of the implantation of the embryo in the uterus to help to prepare the blast of lacting. Androgen supports sperm formation and develop and maintain the male and secondary sex characteristic.